There he goes.
All right, are we live, Ethan?
We're live.
What's up? We're back with play by play, another episode. What's up, Nick? How you doing, buddy?
Week after week, we're just putting out some good shows, man. I'm excited.
We have, and of course, I'm back on set today. It's nice to, well, I say it's nice. It's kind of fun being at the sports bar, hanging out, eating lunch, shooting a podcast. People peeking through the doors to be on the show.
Denny's has to get a shout out too, right?
Who?
Where were you the show before for breakfast?
No, I was at where was I? Walk-ons. I was at Walk-ons in Houston, Texas last week and then the week before that I was at Applebee's of all places.
Applebee's.
Yeah. That's where the waitress just dropped the plate down in front. She don't care. She didn't care that I had a computer.
That's service. That top level service, man. You're gonna get your food one way or another.
That's right. You're getting it. Hey, look, the funny story about it, I got the Bourbon Street steak. I hadn't eaten Applebee's in years. I got the Bourbon Street steak. It comes out on a hot skillet, right? And that was a few minutes before the show, and I'm trying to scarf it down. They have mashed potatoes there, and they're like sizzling. Dude, I got a spoonful and I ate them, and I'm thinking I cooked my insides. It was so hot. Like I felt it go all the way down. It was brutal.
You gotta take it easy. Yeah. Take it easy on that.
I was hungry, man. I'm not even supposed to be eating potatoes. I'm sure my trainer probably just did a backflip right now. But I was starving it. Yeah. I mean, both of our viewers, don't tell them. And, oh my God.
Look at that.
Are we getting pulled over?
We got upgrades this week. We got upgrades on our fire alarm. So we got to give Ethan his props, on his.
Ethan, great job on the fire alarm.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
I thought we were getting pulled over. I'm already pulled over, sir. All right. So what do you
got this week for fires? Anything fun?
Man, fires. We put them out every day. I think the biggest conversation, the biggest thing I'm dealing with right now, within let's just say the detailing side. I own multiple companies, but let's just say the detail, for instance, is probably cash flow. And so we're coming out of our slower season, and we staff up during that time to prepare for the busy season. So. Mm-hmm. We have cash reserves, but we go through that training our employees and we spend down waiting on our busy season. So it's always an uncomfortable time for me to see our cash reserves start to dwindle down as we're building up and then waiting for I hate to say waiting because it's here. Like we have boats just piled up, but getting ready for that. So cash flow is a big thing in mine. What about you? How do you handle that?
Yeah, with the cash flow, I think it's a great time of year to sort of talk about because no matter where you are in the country for detail and other businesses, everyone always has a crazy December. You know what I mean? It's like you work so hard to build up these cash reserves, and then you plan for when your slower times are to make these improvements in the store for your businesses, and you're going to see all that hard work, start going down month by month, whether on purpose, unplanned, whatever it may be. But yeah, sort of just making sure that you've got that plan and going day by day with it, knowing that where you're going with those.
And think about the detailers that are new, that haven't experienced the slow time. And look, we all get happy when we're making money through spring and summer, and everybody's just living it up because cash is great during during the busy season for detailers. But when it tails off, we see a lot of guys go belly up during that time. And so if you're new to detailing, if you're coming into it right now and you're living the high life, be prepared because October, November, December are a different song in the detailing business. And look, we work really hard on our marketing to flatten that curve, basically to keep that business maintaining. But inevitably, we're not doing the same numbers that we were doing and that we're doing now in November. So. And then a lot of detailers up where you guys are, what do y'all do when it's snowing? I mean, how do y'all handle it?
Yeah, you almost have to plan for you're planning for snow, you're planning for salt. You know what I mean? That's busy time. You know what I mean?
Okay. I didn't realize that. Yeah.
But this year we had record lows and snow and salt and all that stuff. So it's like that's that unplanned part. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can't really predict the weather 3 months out. So I always hire extra guys before the winter. You know what I mean? And making sure we've got that staff to handle. When we've got, crazy amount of snow and salt and doing all these details and car washes.
So It's unpredictable, really. But let me tell you what I've done. Is I have a spreadsheet that's going on for about 8 years now, where I have my income on a few income streams, and then the growth between the years, and then so it's got some predictive. Here's what I think I'll bring in. So then you can start to do some projections, and I know that's really deep into this. Yeah. But that's how I kind of determine where our cash is going to be. And of course, when we talk about cash, we're not talking about dollar bills. We're talking about income. Cash. That's just how you refer to it, but income in any way, there's credit card, PayPal, whatever, that's all cash.
And one other solution I like to provide for any young business or young, detailer that's out there is like, hey, make sure you've got a couple different revenue streams inside of your business. Because if, hey, whether you've got some sort of recurring, monthly subscription, maintenance washes, which it's like, man, I hate doing those, but you like making sure that money's in gets deposited on the first of the month, no matter what.
Yeah, that's right.
Or you've got a new higher end service of like whether you're doing a ceramic, you know what I mean, and doing some of those less of, but you've got all these different buckets and revenue streams, and you're going to be able to sort of map those out and say, hey, during the slow season, this is what I'm pushing, you know what I mean, to try and keep that nice level baseline.
That's it, man. That's it. Planning ahead. Don't get so distracted. Like entrepreneurs are guilty of just wanting to, they're opportunists. They want to go to do the next thing, but diversify enough to where you can supplement some of that slower time, and you're not just eating into your cash reserve. So fire I'm definitely putting out is, and that's probably ongoing is dealing with cash flow, understanding what our finances look like. Keeping us rolling.
It's one of those constant fires. You can never put it out, right?
It's a constant fire. There's a lot of constant fires.
I know we got a great show. People are here. They want to hear about customer stories, the good, the bad, the loyal. I love that title.
Yeah.
We're going to jump into, the bad, but I think we got to give the props to the good and the loyal there a little bit.
Absolutely.
Because, everybody wants that juicy story, the bad customer. How do you deal with them? We're going to jump into a whole bunch of different stuff, but that loyal customer, that good customer, making sure that they get their thanks is really important too.
Oh, it is. It is. And absolutely want to give a shout out to all of our customers that have gotten us through the years. But, we're building a foundation. When you're building a company, you're building a foundation. You want to build that on solid quality, good relationships. And those are your customers. That's the relationship between you and your customer, and keeping them happy at all costs. And we're going to dive deep into this stuff, man, but keeping them happy, keeping everybody as happy as you can and satisfied, and knowing that, you're not always going to do everything right, but they need to understand that you're going to try, and that you're there to make effort and not just take their money and not provide a good service.
And that kind of rolls right into it. It's like, you're going to set those expectations up front. You know what I mean? You want to make sure that customer knows exactly what they're getting, the level of service they're getting, before you even start. You know what I mean? So it's not. What is it? Under deliver. What's that saying?
Yep. So undersell, over deliver. Is that what you said? Yeah. I believe that is it. Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah.
No, and that's exactly right. But listen, you got to talk about where that happens. When you set those expectations, that needs to happen early in the conversation. So in your sales call, you're wanting to use the terms that these are the things that you can expect out of this. This is what you're setting the expectation. This is what you can expect to see. This is the longevity you're going to expect to get out of this, sealing or ceramic or whatever. This is the kind of service you can expect to get from me. Here's the communication that's going to happen. So in your sales call, and then also really important to us is that check-in. And do you guys do something like that, or?
Yeah, so our check-in, again, we're taking those pre-pictures, those pre-inspection pictures. We're doing a lot of that stuff at check-in and sort of saying, hey, look, you've got this scratch, you've got this stain. I'm going to do absolutely everything I can to get that out for you. But there's a chance, you know what I mean? Like, you feel it with a fingernail, you can use a paint thickness gauge, you can do a lot of different things.
Yeah, you're setting expectations early as to what you can and can't do. So that way at the pickup part, you eliminate some of that, right?
Yeah. And then on the flip side, on that pickup part, let's say that car was like just nice and easy. It was a Tesla. It needed a one-step polish. You got it in and out in half the time. Well, guess what? I'm going to go and throw an extra coat of wax or you see what I'm saying? Do that little bit extra when you get that layup. You know what I mean? It's so easy just to be like, hey, it's done. You know what I mean? Move on. But
in our industry, it's very common for detailers to just expect our customers to know what we're going to do. And customers need to be told, like, here's what you can expect. So setting these expectations, they don't know, they don't want to know. They're not professional detailers. They don't even care. They want their vehicle shinier than it was when they left. They don't want French fries under the seat. It comes down to about that simple, right? So letting them know ahead of time, here's what I'm going to do. And I'm not talking about what polisher you're going to use and what grit sandpaper you're going to use, and they don't care about that either. They don't care what brand compound you're using this week. They want to know what you're going to do and how you're going to do it, and then the communication that follows. So making sure that they understand that, and it doesn't have to be long and drawn out. So, like, in other words, I'm going to perform this detail. We're going to clean the seats. We're going to clean the dash. We're going to clean all the cup holders. We're going to get this thing looking new again. And then we're going to call you when it's ready for pickup, and you're going to love it. Okay. Like that. Now, there's the expectation, right?
Yep. And then let's flip it though. You do all those and you set those expectations, and then you get a customer that's like not happy. Let's just use the word not happy. Doesn't mean they're a bad customer. But for some reason, that expectation was not what they were expecting.
That's right.
Then how do you handle that, Dustin?
Oh man, so we try to unpack what's going on. So let me tell you something. Not all, like you said, not all angry customers or unsatisfied customers are bad people.
Absolutely not.
You don't know what they've gone through. So a lot of times you don't know what they've gone through in that day to get back to you. Right. So it may not even be your problem that they're delivering to you. Sometimes the saying shit rolls downhill and you're the one that lands on.
We'll catch all the problems. Lay it on me, man. Lay it on me.
So killing it. So we first off would kill them with kindness. It's hard to be mad at somebody that's happy, right? And so our shop, like our demeanor, when a customer starts to get riled up, say, hey, we got this. Don't worry. Listen, you need not stress because we're going to take care of whatever this is. And now, boom, you've taken down their defense, like their shoulders relax. You can watch somebody just deflate and go, okay, all right. Well, here's what really my problem is. You guys missed the gas gas tank door or whatever. And they're like, okay, we got it. And so quickly to solve those problems, but to kind of de-arm that customer that's really defensive right from the start. That's kind of how we handle it.
Yeah. I sort of, again, the phrase always, we're not going anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, listen, we're not just this fly by night place, just trying to get you in and out. We're not going anywhere. We want to build a relationship with you. If for some reason something wasn't expectation, we're going to make it right. You know what I mean?
That's it.
And go around that way. But just if for some reason, if those expectations didn't meet the standard of the customer, it's just making sure, hey, resetting those expectations and saying, hey, we're going to do this as much as we can for you. You know what I mean? But at the same time, if we're not able to, letting them know, hey, what else can we do to make this right for you?
And by the way, so when we're laying those expectations out in that sales call or in the check-in process, we go ahead and address if there's an issue. So we say, if you have any issues when you pick up, we're going to be here to go over that with you. And we will make sure that everything that you are, that we promised that we've delivered on. You don't want to speak to the negative, like if we miss something, we'll take care of it, because you're kind of setting yourself up. But it's like, if anything that we've discussed that you're not satisfied with, we make sure it's right. You will not, and we tell them, you will not leave this gate unhappy, period. So, and I think that you got to make it clear and concise what you plan on doing, and then deliver that to the shop, because there's a whole nother thing too. If you got, if there's not just you delivering it, but you have your employees working on it, that message has to go to them too.
Yeah. And I think you got those lines of defenses. Unfortunately, we're not always there to be able to catch them right when that incident happens, right? So we get it after it's escalated.
Yes, absolutely.
We don't necessarily get to put it out right away. I mean, maybe and then they're frustrated with something else that happened. You know what I mean? And then they're like, okay, you get called in, as sort of that last line of defense.
So, yeah, we do. But before we get to that point, I want to talk about during the process. This is another area that I think detailers can drop the ball. And I know why you do it, by the way, guys. As an owner operator, if it's just you and a helper, small detailer, small operation right now is time, but communication during the detail. And I'm not saying just call and shoot the breeze with the customer, but if there's an issue that comes up, right, you notice something in the detail that may not do what you said at check-in. A stain may not come out like you thought you could get out. A scratch that may not be able to polish out that you thought you could get out. Is to communicate that earlier in the process, so that way, like you were referring to, once they pick up, kind of like you can resolve that a little, faster, just over the phone. Here's what you can say. So now they're not coming in hot. You know, they come in knowing what
cool them off. You hit them with that extinguisher right away.
Yeah, yeah. I guess we are talking about putting out fires still.
Yeah, you know? it's just an extension there, right? But yeah, the other part of the communication that I usually see is like not necessarily always with the service. It's the people's, you know, the customer's time, right? Yes. So let's say a detail takes a little bit longer, right? Or they dropped it off to get it done right. I see people's time as their most valuable asset. So making sure that we can be there and call them, hey, look, we just did this shampoo on your car. We got these stains coming back up, whatever it may be. We got to hit it again. Can we keep it overnight? There's no extra charge. We just want to make this service right for you. But that extra little bit of communication,
it's huge. You know, and here's what we deal with, or our conversation to my staff is, even if we have to let the customer know and they're not excited about it, it's much more convenient for us to spend a few more hours on it now than them to have to bring it back and let us redo something that didn't. So our communication to the customer is, look, we want to get this thing right this time. We don't want you to have to come back. We don't want you to leave here and be unsatisfied. While we have the vehicle, let's get it done, and let's get it done right. And when you tell them that opens the door for, okay, that makes sense. I can let them spend a couple hours on it now, or I'm going to have to bring this back to them and let them work on it for another, you know, day or whatever, and take another chunk out of my time. So, yeah, absolutely. I didn't even think about that, Nick, really, you know, about the late, you know, about time, you know, in this conversation, but
this could be perfect detail, but it takes extra time. They got to pick up their kids, and you said it was ready by 3, and then it's not, you know, like these life happens, and you got to sort of, and that's why the most tangible thing with dealing with, again, we put that umbrella of bad customers. They're not necessarily a bad customer, but we don't want to get to that point where they're upset at the shop. So we're going to go and say, hey, call them. If you're not calling people 30 minutes to an hour ahead of time, you know what I mean? Let them plan for pickup. Right. That was the number one feedback that we got from customers before, you know, jumping on a great software, is making sure that we're sending these texts and calls 30 minutes ahead, an hour ahead of time. And people gotten the best feedback just from that. You know what I mean? So I would say that would be a tangible, you know, thing that you guys can do. You want me
to tell you the kiss of death? I don't know if you ever had this problem or not. It's just funny. It's so relative. All right. So in marine detailing, especially this time of year, you'll have a customer that comes in, right? Or that calls in. Or usually they come in, they bring the boat, and they drop it off and they say, I'm not in a rush. I'm in no hurry. Dude, get to it when you can.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, tell that customer to stay hooked to that boat and take it home with him, because that customer will worry the horns off of a billy goat, son. Like, that is the kiss of death.
I have not heard that one before. What? Heard the horns?
Man.
Is that a new?
I don't even know if that's real. I don't even know if that's a saying, dude. Are there horns? There are horns on billy goats, aren't there, Ethan?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. See there. Yeah. I mean, don't worry the horns off. Works off of a bullfrog. I don't know. I'm an Alabama boy, man. You know, like, but seriously, if the customer tells you no hurry, no rush, take your time, for the love of God, do that job first.
Let them leave until we get it. When do you want it by? I gotta have something. You know what I mean? I gotta have something to go off of.
That's expectations.
Yep. You got it parked outside. You're like, I'm gonna get to it when I get to it. But then
that never comes.
You know, and that it just doesn't go well.
That time never comes, and that customer will call you 1,000 times. That's so funny. You know, so look, so we've communicated well through the process. We've you know, got them checked in. We've talked to them about the scratch that wouldn't come out. We get them there, and something just ain't right. Something just ain't right. Customer's mad. Nick, what are you doing at the pickup part where maybe there's an issue?
Yeah, that's where you're gonna be a listener. You're gonna make sure that you get everything out. Let them get everything that they got to get out, and understanding that customer and that vehicle and that service you did, and how that's going to reflect on your business, right? At some point you got to stand up for the service you did. If you just went and did a one-step polish and got 75%, 80% of the swirls out, that car looks great. The value is there. You know the service you did. And the customer, for whatever reason, just hates it. There's no turning back. You're going to listen. You're going to make sure. You're going to try and make it right. But at some point, you make sure that you still have, you know, that respect, and you stand up for your business, and your employee. You make sure there's no disrespect there. You know what I mean?
Right.
At some point, you know, I am one that stand up for what we do, and you know, and we know our level of service. You know what I mean? Our customers know our level of service.
And that comes with experience. That comes with experience and time and learning how, like, what, because, dude, I remember when I first started, I mean, we get railroaded by customers. You know, you just didn't know. You didn't know what you didn't know. And, like, you just thought that everything, you know, that the customer said was you were wrong and they were right. And I know the saying goes, customers always right. Yeah. And I believe that to some extent, but sometimes not. You hit something on, you know, you said something that queued me up. So being a great listener. Yeah, that's spot on. So it's not a time for you to open your mouth and make a bunch of excuses. Yep. It's a time for you to listen and keep listening and let them talk. And then at the end of that kind of conversation, say, what can we do to get this resolved? Like, what did you foresee this? Well, I expected this, this, and this. Now, if those expectations are just completely misaligned with what you guys discussed from the start, then that's a conversation that says, okay, here's what we discussed, and here's where, you know, we needed to be to do this. Now, if it's close, you know, my conversation, this is a big one for me, and I call it eating the shit sandwich. Yeah. If it's close and it's questionable, okay, like or an obvious miss, like you're supposed to vacuum the trunk and you didn't vacuum the trunk. Okay, that's an obvious miss. Or if it's like, guys, I just was expecting a little more on the engine bay. I mean, the hood's got a little bit.
I wish they would be as nice as you are now, right?
Nah, they're never this nice, dude. They're never
just a little bit better on the engine bay,
right? No, it's like, you motherfucker. You stupid. No. But eat the shit sandwich, right? Do the thing that you need to do. If it takes you 10 or 15 or 20 minutes to fix whatever it is they're kind of about, go ahead and do that, because that is so much cheaper than them running. And this is how customers work, right? Unhappy customers scream from the mountaintops how bad you suck, and good ones may whisper it to a friend. Okay. So that's how that works. So what is an extra 20 minutes on a, you know, vacuuming out between the seats one more time, or, you know, running over a scratch that they thought you could get a little bit more, but blah, blah, blah. Okay. Spend an extra 20 minutes, make that customer happy, go that extra step, and then build that foundation on solid customers. Because if you do that, I promise you that customer is coming back, and he or she, they're going to be happy and excited to do business with you, because, you know, they know you're going to make it right.
The one thing is, I think it's really interesting, as like you said, laying that foundation with those customers when you're just starting out, right?
Yeah.
And you were saying how getting railroaded by customers, and that can happen in the beginning, because you're like, man, I got
it happens.
3 reviews online, and I've just started, and this guy's super unhappy. Yeah, you're gonna have to eat that sandwich a little bit more than you want to in the beginning. And I think that's just the brutal truth. You
do. And the thing about it is, those customers weed themselves out over time. So usually your price weeds that out, by the way. If you let your price, I think we've discussed this before, if you let your price dictate your customers, not your customers dictate your pricing, that in itself solves the shit sandwich problem mostly.
I think we got a question here, guys.
All right, drop it in here. All right, Tyler Gillespie, what do you do when a customer gets confrontational with an employee? That's a great question. That is a great question. I actually had that happen.
Really?
So Trey Pitts, our new shop manager. He's been here about 6 months now. He is excellent, by the way. I mean, he's a big guy, dude. This guy is like, you know, he's stout. Like, but a customer came to pick up a boat, and the customer gets up in the boat, goes around the boat with Trey, loving the outside, hops up in the boat, and he opens the head. And I think I even mentioned this before. We had piled some of the stuff, you know, out of the compartments and in the head, and it didn't go there, but 2 detailers didn't know what the other ones had done, so they did it. They put it there. It wasn't a big deal. This customer loses his mind, and he gets off that boat. And he's like, "What are you going to do about it?" Trey's like, "Hey, just relax. We're going to take care of it." And he's like, and this dude's cussing. He's dropping F-bombs. He's like, "F you, you know, F this, blah blah blah." And he's like, whoa. Trey's like, whoa, you're not going to talk to us like, talk to us like that, basically. And the customer's like, I'll talk to you however I want. What are you going to do about it? And I'm like, I wasn't there. Thank God I wasn't there for that moment. Yeah. But so my manager just walked off. He's like, I can't right now. Like, yeah. So like confrontational, right? We still have to make it right to the customer. So we have, one of our other detailers, Tab, one of our very experienced detailers, Tabitha, she goes up to the customer and she says, hey, look, we'll take care of it. We're going to make this thing right, blah, blah, blah. And they get the customer kind of diffused and he leaves. Well, I I hear this story and I'm like, hell no, this dude ain't trying to fight our people around here. So I had to call him up. Him and I'm like, hey, bro, what's happening? And he starts apologizing immediately. He's like, man, I had this bad day. He said, I wasn't prepared to pick up the boat, but I had to come get it during my lunch. Then I had a flat tire, get there, and his jack wouldn't pick his boat. It wasn't nothing that we did, but his jack wasn't picking his boat up high enough. And this is a known issue that he has, but it's like a thing. And dude, it just like a time bomb that just went off in our hands. But and said, look, man, we try our best to make you guys happy and do the right thing. He said, I said, so just, next time you're in here, please pull my shop manager to the side and just talk with him and apologize, because he was pretty upset about the way that went down, and nobody needs to be talked to like that. So we defended our shop, we defended our people, of course, but we had to hear it out. We got to really hear the whole story.
Yeah. Now, the one thing is having that open communication with the employees, right? The shop manager, the manager, wherever that incident happens, I think is really important, because for me, I'm like, hey, guess what? I'm going to make sure my guys are there and excited to work. And if I'm taking the side of the customer there, you know what I mean?
You can't. Yeah.
So if there's ever a disrespect and they're like, man, he crossed the line, right? Communicating, like you said, with the customer, but being okay firing a customer.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Yep. It's something that it's an extreme. It really is. It's an extreme.
It's one-off, Ferry. I mean, it's not an thing that happens often, obviously.
But you know what? You could be a new detailer, and that might be the third customer you get.
Yeah.
Where you just hired someone and they like dealing with you, right?
Yep.
And now they're dealing with someone else and they're disrespectful. Well, guess what? You're going to get on the phone and say, hey, we really appreciate, give them a full refund, say, take your business elsewhere. You know
man, that reminds me of a time. Yeah, that definitely reminds me of a time when I first started. I was by myself, and I had this contract for this party bus, and it was $25 to wash the outside and vacuum out the inside. A 16-passenger van, $25.
Man, those $25 used to go a lot farther than back in the day.
I wouldn't open the shop door for $25 now. Anyways, no, I'm just joking. I'm joking. But seriously, $25, right? And this lady always complained every time about something, fingerprints on the glass, blah, 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 blah. So finally I called her up. I'm like, look, we can't seem to please you. We can't seem to make this work. Like, no matter what we do, how hard we try, it's never good enough. Maybe we're not the detailer for you.
Yep.
And she starts backpedaling. No. We love the service. There's just, this or that. And I said, no. You don't understand. You don't understand. I've got a couple suggestions I'm going to give you to go detail, because I'm not doing it no more.
Really you know what I mean? They'll do a really good job. I'll pay for you to go that way.
Yeah, they do great work. I'm going to just send you your information.
But when you're there, right, and having to do that face-to-face with a customer, I think that's just something it's good to think about. It's something to plan for. It's something to sort of try to get mentally prepared for.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't know when it's going to happen. But firing a customer is part of business in a way. Where's that line in the sand? You know what I mean? What will you tolerate? With a customer.
What's the respect and disrespect? You can't let it cross that line. Here's the thing, though: it should never escalate. You don't want these things to snowball on you and then really get into it like a fight with the customer. Like you've got to be the level head. You've got to be the one that says, "Hey, obviously we're not going to come to terms with this." But I mean, you've got to stay level headed about it. You've got to stay, nice, cordial. It's really hard to be mad at somebody that's smiling. So if you don't get mad, it's hard for them to stay mad, And so that's really what what we practice here. We call it the Chick-fil-A effect.
What do you recommend for those young detailers? When they don't have that experience, right? You get someone's mad at you, they're yelling, you want to yell back, right?
Yeah,
what do you recommend for them?
What do you plan on doing this tomorrow and the next day and the next week and the next month, and next year? If you continue, if you want to do this, then you're going to have to, you can't fight this customer. You can't, right. So, but you want to be in business next week, next month, next year. So you can't just go at it like it's a buddy of yours or some dude in high school. You've really got to take it. You're the business now. Okay. You got to listen to it, and you can, hey, listen, we're going to tone this thing down because we're not going this way. But you can't be confrontational. You can, you look, at the end of the day, refund, here's your money back. Now you haven't taken anything. Here's a refund, and can the customer.
And the great part of this is, whether it's detailing or any business, there's so many young entrepreneurs. You know what I mean? I'm talking, people are washing cars at 15, 16 years old. And, that maturity, it's really a good topic. I love this topic this week because it's just something that if you just think about it right now at 15, 16, you know what I mean? And you might not be exposed to it right away, but it's just going to set you up for success. And I think that's what the show.
It is. And here's the problem. Usually when you're new to detailing, you're the cheapest guy around. And these customers are brutal. They don't want to pay any money. They don't get their cars detailed that often. They expect the world for pennies, and they're going to hold you. And what's bad as a new detailer is you don't really know what expectations you should be setting.
Yeah, you haven't sort of got your baseline for your own work. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
But setting it, listen, it's got to be reasonable. You got to keep it within reason, understand, listen to that customer, just like you said. All right. Now that's in person.
Yeah.
What do you think about when they leave, right? They leave happy. I've had this happen. I know you have too. They've left happy, shaking hands, kissing babies, all that good stuff. Yep. 2 weeks later, I get an alert, 1-star review. They got compound in my cracks. They got blah, 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 whatever. Okay. What are you doing on that?
It's 2023. Everything's online now. You know what I mean? That's where it is. There's no more, I don't know how much paper advertisement you do, or you know what I mean? Everything is online, Google. And the biggest thing is sort of, for me at least, is whenever there's a bad review, it's just understanding what can I take this as constructive feedback and what's just an upset customer. Really trying to understand what happened and making it better. There's nothing you can do about it afterwards. It's understand it, read it, and move on. You know what I mean? That's at least how I handle it. How do you?
You know what I see? I see it as an opportunity to show our future customers how we're going to respond to an issue. And so our response right then to that review is in public. We don't hide behind it. Hey, we'll give you a call. No. Now, so if we call first of all, we call the customer before we respond to the review. We call the customer. If we get them on the phone, we solve the issue, and then we go on there and we respond how we resolve the issues. If they don't answer, then we respond to that review. By the way, we've only had a couple of them, so I don't want you to think like that we've been inundated with bad reviews, and I'm a professional bad review writer. But we go on there and we state that, hey, we tried to give you a call. We want to make this right to you. We understand that you're not happy, and we want to make this right. Please get back in touch with us, and I'll sign myself as the owner, Dustin Jackson, with my personal cell phone. Yeah. That's how committed we are to that customer service. But I'm going to tell you another thing, Nick. Google reviews. If you have a 5-star review, all right. So there was a poll that was done that said 4.6 and 4.7 stars was the best review rating you could have, not 5-star. Do you know why?
Why? No,
5 stars.
Today. Let me get my notebook out.
Yeah, write it down. 5 stars. Look, 5-star reviews. If you have 50 or 100 or any substantial number of reviews, if you have a 5-star, they look fake. People they don't give it credit. And then also they say that some people go look to the bad reviews before they look to the good reviews. They want to see what happened.
Yep.
So
I think that's great.
Yeah. So a 4.6 or a 4.7 isn't bad. You get the bad review. It's not bad. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to show your customers how you're going to handle them if they're not satisfied.
I think that's a great way to put it, Dustin, honestly. And it's funny because I was looking at restaurants in San Antonio, you know what I mean? And I always try and find, you're only there for one day. You're going to try and you're in town, you're trying to find a detail center or a restaurant, whatever it is. You know what I mean? And how do you do that, right? And you try and put yourself in the customer's face of a new customer, of how they're searching. And those responses, I think, are something that, people would definitely notice. I think that's a great, great response to them.
Yep. Yeah. And look, they're no fun. I don't want it to make it sound like it's a cakewalk. When it happens, it's a gut punch. Like I said, we've only had a few over our years, like a handful between Facebook and Google, and it's never fun. It's always a gut punch, always. But it is an opportunity, and you get a couple weeks or a month under your belt of happy customers. You done forgot about that, and you've moved on. And so it's not the end of the world, like it feels.
What's your recommendation for those, again, those new business owners, those new detailers, right? And they've got 3 reviews, right? Yeah. And then they get hit with a 1-star, right? Ooh. And it could, you know what I mean? And then you're sitting with whatever that is at a 3.
2.8. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Just look into barber college and start cutting hair. I'm just kidding. I'm playing. No, don't jump off a cliff.
Tax ID. start fresh, go undercover, go states, move
start
address.
a podcast. Any idiot can do this.
No, but again, I do think it does for those newer, those young kids or those small businesses that are just starting out. It's still understanding that there's that silver lining, like you said.
That's right.
If you're sitting there at a 2.5, or you're not satisfied with it, you're going to try and make it right. You're going to respond to it, like you said, and you're going to you got a car coming tomorrow. You're going to make that one even better.
Right. And make sure you're asking for those reviews. Don't try to pay them. Don't give them a discount for it. That's tacky. Ask them for the review. Try to push that negative comment down some with good. And a lot of people call it burying it, but I don't like to refer to burying it. We're not trying to hide it, but we would like to overwhelm it some with good ones. So making sure you're sending those review requests. Don't just let a bad one go, oh shit, I don't want nobody to leave me a review. No. Bad reviews happen unless you're just doing crummy work. Bad reviews one off, and most of your people are going to be extremely satisfied, especially if you follow the way that we talked about, communicate with these customers very well and set those expectations. You'll be getting good reviews. Yeah.
And at the same time, like you said, when you're just starting out and you want to set those expectations, like you said, but you're getting better as well. You know what I mean? If you're just starting detailing and you're polishing, you burn some paint. I mean? Everyone's going to burn a little paint. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And that's your third car you did. Well, you know what? Do you want to do this for the long haul? Let that review be a reminder 2, 3, 4 years. You know what I mean? When you get that 4.7 rating, being like, hey, look, third review was this.
Where I came from.
Yeah, and I think that's also, not so people don't get down on them. People worry too much about what those reviews are. If you go to work, you keep improving each day.
So we talked about negative customers. Let's just we'll summarize the end of it here, but I do want to ask you one thing. What about our great loyal customers? We said the good, the bad, the loyal. What are you doing for your loyal customers? What kind of perks, what kind of benefits, if any whatsoever, outside of providing great service, what are you doing for your loyal customers?
It's going to be that thing where I'm going to try and read the vehicle. You know what I mean? Specifically for, let's say we're on a mobile job. You know what I mean? You're on a maintenance wash. The car's already clean. You're going to go that 1 extra mile. We did this. We power washed this guy's garage the other week. You know what I mean? Because we didn't even ask. We had our squeegees. We had our power gun. Took us 15 minutes. He was ecstatic. And I'm like, look, man, I saw your garage. I couldn't park this beautiful car into this. It's all, you know what I mean? It's all nasty in there. He's got it all epoxy floored, left it breathtaking.
Little things like that go a long way, and that's how you reward your loyal customers. Don't just start giving discounts. Try to stay out of the discount train. Try to add more service. Don't try to discount your service.
Yeah, if you're going to devalue your service, if you're just discounting it, he's already coming to you for business. He respects your price.
They're willing to pay your price already. Why discount it? Discount it?
Don't be like, hey, 5th one free, 6th one free. You're just going to devalue yourself. I would rather just go and say, hey, we're going to try and do something extra for you. You know what I mean? That takes a little more time, a little more effort. Hey, don't worry. I got these chrome tips done for you. I brought the metal polish. Just take care of them. I saw it last time. Want to make it right for you. You know what I mean? It goes a long way.
That's it. A little bit goes a long way. So listen, guys, as we're wrapping this thing up, I just want to talk to you. So setting expectations is huge. Get in front of the shitstorm. Get in front of it before it happens. You do that through your sales process, how you're communicating on the phone. Don't overpromise and underdeliver. What is it? Here we go again.
Tough saying, man.
Whatever the saying is. There's a great, beautiful saying.
Over-deliver.
Can somebody edit that and put that in? Over-deliver.
Forget the other part, just over-deliver.
Set the expectations early, guys. And then at check-in, that's your opportunity to address anything else. If it shows up and it's trashed, let them know then. Don't wait till it's trashed and you got a little bit better, but they expected a lot of bit better. Make it right then. Over-communicate. If it takes more time, Nick, what do you do?
Just get it done.
Get it done. Call the customer. Let them know it's going to take more time. That's what you do. Guys, you got this, man. Keep it going. Great conversation today, Nick.
Yeah, I'm excited. Wonder what we got next week.
I don't know, man. I don't know. What do you think the siren's going to sound
like? He's going to come out with like that ice cream siren.
You know I think we should make Ethan wear a fireman's suit. I mean, I don't know. It's just a thing.
At least the hat.
Yeah, at least the hat over there.
Suit, dude. That's
I know we had some great questions in the comments and everything there too. So
did you see any?
I just I know the live's been going well and people have been listening and everything. So you know, if you guys have questions or want to leave them, you know, after the show, we'll get to them next week.
I think we do
even,
have
you know,
one.
right after.
I think we do have
absolutely.
one question we didn't get to today.
Yeah, throw it up there.
Tate and Trout.
Yeah.
All right, what do you do when a landlord speaks to you like that? Had that happen a month or two ago and still haven't gotten an apology or treated much better? Here's the reality. You're probably, look, somebody that's willing to do that, it's rare that you're going to get the apology. But if you're still getting treated that way, I'm looking for another building.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, like, you don't search for the apology. That's, people are just turds. But if you're if that continues, you got to find a new building. I mean, you know, you got to get out of toxic.
And the number one thing, again, you're like, if it's the first lease that you signed, right, and you're there and you feel trapped, and I'm like, man, I'm stuck here for 2 years, 5 years, whatever it is, and you're in a bad situation, there's going to be loopholes.
Yes.
Get
your attorney.
Get someone to take a look at it for you and be like, look, I really don't. And sometimes it's have an open and honest conversation with the landlord and be like, look,
that's right.
I really don't feel comfortable here. What type of options can we put? Can I, you know, sublease it? Can I, you know what I mean? There's a lot of different options out there, but it's not worth being in a negative situation.
And if you're not good with having that one-on-one, if you forget what you're going to say, or if you get fumed or, you know, get mad easy, write it down. Give them a letter, type up a letter and say, here's how I feel. Here's what I'm planning on doing about it. And that way you get everything you wanted to say out, you know, and then that way it's not fueled by, you know, rage, or you're mad and you're not getting what you really wanted to say out, because sometimes a lot of it's just expectations there, you know, just as it is customer. So,
and the other thing is like, again, how long has this been going on? Right. Is this something that you've been holding in for, you know, 3 months, 6 months, a year, you know what I mean, where you're just unhappy? Well, that is definitely, you know, worth taking a look at and seeing, you know, what options are out there for you.
It is, man. It is. Tayton, if you have any more questions, buddy, shoot me a text. I'm happy to jump on a call and talk about that. Great show. Like I said, Nick, always appreciate you, brother. Looking forward to next week. Where can everybody find us?
Oh, everywhere. Spotify, Apple,
YouTube.
Podcast,
that's
Instagram,
my favorite.
Facebook.
Yeah.
You know, and keep an eye out for those reels. You know, I'm going to call out Ethan. He's putting out some good reels out there. Yeah, that one was cracking up. You know, I can't wait to see what he puts out from Chopped Up this show.
Yeah, that's right. Awesome. Appreciate you, man. And we'll see y'all next week.
Sounds good. Thanks.